All right, guys, I know we got a few minutes until 11 o'clock. I just wanted to open this up so that I could get things shared and make sure I can see everything. So if you're watching the replay, you're going to be jumping forward a little ways before you're to the actual paintings. Let's see here. Share. I don't know if it goes. So if you're joining in live, hello, hello. We're going to wait until we are to 11 o'clock to get started on the tutorial. I just wanted to hit live now so I can do kind of my side stuff here, make sure that you can visually see everything that we're going to be working on. So just bear with me and hang out a minute and we'll get started right on time at 11 o'clock. So we got about 5 minutes here. I don't want to talk too much about what I'm doing because I don't want anybody coming on time to feel like they are behind. So I'm going to grab my water. I feel like you guys can see pretty good. I might move these off of this paper too, but just hang tight, guys. Thanks for joining in. Let's see here. I see a few people joining in, guys. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to wait until 11 to get started because I did post ahead of time that we were going to be on today. I'm just getting a few last minute things. Get my hair pulled up. And we will get started in about 5 minutes. So if you want to grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water or some paint pens, I don't know if you've got some base coated rocks that you want to work with. But go ahead and grab that stuff while you've got a moment. Yeah, and you feel free to, if you have any rock painting groups, you can share this out into the groups. You got a minute to do that. You won't miss anything as long as you're back by 11. So if you want to copy the link and take it over to Facebook or any place like that, feel free to do that. All right, guys, got about 3 minutes. Thanks for joining in live, guys. I'm gonna take these off of this paper because I feel like this paper is a little bit, a lot of paint on it. These rocks have literally been sitting here since last week. We'll work on white paper for the background here. It just makes it a little easier for you guys to see. Hello, hello, guys. Welcome in, welcome in. Got 2 minutes and we'll get started here. Trying to get nice and even for you guys. All right, it's just 1 minute here till 11 o'clock. If you are joining in live, thanks for joining in live. If you're catching the replay, we are going to be starting any moment. Now, if you are watching live today, I will edit this down for a shortened version. So if this isn't your style, if this is too much, too long, then I promise this will be edited down to much more manageable, smaller thing. So, all right, we have a few people in. It is just about to click over to 11. I don't know if it sends out the notification at 11 since that's what time it was scheduled for. I just like to push play a little early so that I have time to make sure everything is viewable. So we are officially at 11 o'clock. So we are gonna just jump into it. So if you joined last week, we were pour painting all of these beautiful base coats. We started with our teal rocks, and then we started doing some yellow rocks, and then it created this fun marble design as well. So you can go back and watch that full live tutorial, or you can go back and you can watch the shortened version. I already did a shortened 3-minute style version of that tutorial that you can check out as well. So today we're going to focus on decorating our kindness rocks. So if you're not familiar with kindness rocks, you paint them, you place them around to brighten somebody's day. You can do like inspirational words, phrases, things like that on your stone. So I did this one just to have one done off to the side. And we're just gonna blow through and do a handful of these while we're live. We'll probably stay on for about an hour. We'll see how many we get done. I don't have any specific goals of how many to get done in the hour. I'm just gonna go for it and have fun. Now I did grab my extra fine tip paint pens. These two are the 1M version, and this one is the 1MR. It says, so it depends on, so some of them will all be in Japanese, but it will say right there. See, this says PC1M and this one says PC1MR. It's just a slightly different tip. This one is a little bit more of like a pointy plastic style tip, and then this one is a little bit more along the lines, it reminds me more of like a felt tip pen. So I have both. This one sounds a little low on paint, and I can hear my vacuum, we call him Rosca, or Roomba. I'm gonna go pause him real quick because he's coming closer and it's gonna get loud. Hold on. Don't need that going off in the background. All right, so I went online and I found just a bunch of pre-designed kindness phrases. I know that coming up with the designs for these can be the hardest part for some people. So I just picked a bunch of them and pulled them onto a document so I could print them all off together. If this is something that you guys are interested in, let me know. I can find a way that I can get it to you. So I just did a bunch. I don't know how many of them will translate or size-wise, if they will work out really well on the stones. But what I do is I put a whole bunch of them on here, and I have shown this technique before using carbon paper, but it was only on a holiday rock. So I kind of, I've done it once for a post and then I never showed it again. So I'm going to do it today to kind of show you my process for this. So bunch of different designs on here. Since today I am going to either be using black or white on the rock, like things that are multiple colors would all be probably a single color for me. Like this one here that I did was like a teal black, but I just did it in all black. So we're using carbon paper. That's very helpful for this to transfer our design onto our stone. And I'll show you kind of how I go about that. So the first thing I do is I pick what rock I'm trying to work with. And then I like to kind of go and make sure the design's going to fit on the rock first before I cut it out. So as you can see, I've got this Be Kind, and it's kind of just like a little typewriter font. It doesn't look that difficult, but at the same time, that can be really hard to move onto your design without messing it up. So I'm going to use the carbon paper, and this one's kind of quick and easy one to start with. So it looks like it's going to fit okay on the rock. So I'm going to cut that design out. And I like to kind of get kind of closer to the edge if possible, because then you can see where your rock is underneath and make sure all your lines are going to be on the rock. All right, so we got our Be Kind cut out. And then we're going to take our carbon paper, and this is just standard carbon paper. We have it in our supply shop, so the supply link below, the main one has it. It's just like the regular carbon paper that people used to use in typewriters way back in the day. You can still get it. I'm sure you can get it in an office supply store as well. And we're just going to place this, put the ink side down. We're going to place this on here like that. And I just try to use the smallest amount that I can use. So I'm just going to line it up and then cut it out like that. Also working out in front of my body, so that's a little tricky sometimes. Okay, so we've got our Be Kind, and then I just take regular Scotch tape and take your rock, and you're going to put your carbon paper down with your freeze right on top of it, just like that. Make sure it's going to fit. See, there's a corner there. I want to make sure all 4 corners of my square is on, and that's why I like to kind of cut it out really well, because if you're too far off, I wouldn't have noticed that wasn't going to make it. And then we're going to tape it down. Okay, again, just rub that on there. All right, now you have to use either a ballpoint pen. I had a pen over here. Okay, I can use this one. It has to be something that you're going to be able to see the lines through. So if you want to test a little part first to make sure the pen you're using works, do that before you trace the whole design and then lift up and see, oh my gosh, it's not doing anything. So I'm just going to come on here and I'm going to trace each one of these letters. And since it's black on black, you won't really see too much of what I'm doing here at the moment. I'm just going over each one of the lines. I'm just putting a dot there. I know they have a heart, but that's a really little heart, so I don't know if that's going to translate very well with paint pens. Now, obviously, you can just hand write these messages on here too. I don't know if I'm going to do all of them with carbon paper. I just want to show you a couple because this is a technique that helps a lot of people that just are not confident with their lettering. All right, let's see. I see that we have a handful of people in here. Oh my gosh, that line I just went way off to the side. You see what I did there? I just didn't even trace. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Just leave it there for now. It helps if you can draw. All right, so see, I'm just going to lift up so you can see this so far. See our Be Kind underneath there? Okay. Whoop. See if I might do better with this if I did it with a ruler, even though I'm tracing. It's still a straight line, which can be just hard to do, but I'm just going to go for it. Try to do it all in one line. I don't know what was going on there. I think I had a little lump underneath my paper maybe. There we go. All the way around. All right. So I'll peel that up. And it's just a light layer. I missed over there, but that's okay. I can figure that out. It's just a light layer that you'll be able to trace with your paint pens. And I always keep, so with this first one, it had some thicknesses to it. See, as you can see, I just traced inside of it. And then once you've got that on your rock, you can decide what's thicker. We'll do one that has a little bit more of that style after this one. So now we're just going to come in here, but always keep your reference sheet nearby, because like on this one, And we have the little tails and the little hooks that we have to make sure that we're following. So I'm just gonna take my time really slowly. I'm not gonna talk while I do this because sometimes when I talk I mess up my letters. I also am getting really close to needing readers, guys, and so these are getting trickier for me. Okay, so we got our typewriter, be kind. I'm just gonna do, we are gonna do the little hearts. We're just gonna make them a little bit bigger. So we'll do the kind heart. I do like the hearts in there. They're just so tiny. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm bracing right here with my pinky just the littlest bit when I do that straight line. That is very helpful for me to help keep my hands steady. Now this line didn't go, so I'm just gonna kind of fudge where I think it was going to. But if you just kind of, I'm pressing in with my pinky, and if you could see it, sometimes it starts turning red. That's how I kind of help brace and kind of keep my hands steady. Okay, so there we go. Be kind. That's so cute. And then we missed the C. So now this is what I was talking about reference. So see, the I looked a little off to me. It's because I missed the top little hitch on the I. There we go. So now you can kind of look at your reference, look at your rock, and it turned out pretty good. I like how that looks. And obviously the lining on this is a little bit finer. I do have some, the micron pens and stuff that can be a little bit thinner, but not everybody has those, and they can be tricky to seal. So I see there's a handful of people in here. If you're in here, go ahead and feel free to say hello, where you're watching from. I don't see any comments on here yet so far, so hopefully the stream is going okay for you guys. Have you ever used carbon paper on rocks before? Let's see here. Does anybody see one on here that they'd like to see me do? I was thinking, I've got this beautiful big stone. So let's kind of see which one. We've got this one that has a lot of lettering in it. This has some different weightedness to it, so maybe we can do that one. I also love this just big giant Be Kind. Would look kind of cool on there. There's the Great Things Take Time. That's got some different lettering takes on it. This might be a little trickier to do. I guess you could go back in and do the white letters on top. Hello, Robin. Thanks for joining in. The Do Your Best might look kind of cool. You could do that on there. I'm going to go ahead and do this one because I don't know how many we'll have time to do today. We're doing it with this technique. I wanted to do at least one that had a lot of these different weighted lettering so that you kind of see. So we're going to go ahead and do that one. It's right in the middle of my sheet here. Oh, thank you, Robin. Hopefully they get you inspired to paint a lot of rocks. So sorry you are joining in later. Let me know if, I know you can go on Google and just search kindness phrases and things like this. This is considered topography if you use that word in your searching, which is like playing around with different font styles together. So, but I can find a way to get like a sheet like this to you. I just pulled a bunch of different designs on one sheet. So I didn't mention this the first time. When you're cutting this out, you do want to have a slight lip. Let me get this closer at the top. You do want to have a slight lip of your carbon paper. So when you tape the top of this, it's taping to this and then the rock. Because that first one, if you were watching, you noticed it was kind of sliding around. You do want to kind of Make sure it is attached a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to line that up on our rock. I'll look from overhead, make sure it seems like it fits on there nicely. I'm going to tape it down. And it will write through the tape. So if you get some tape over your lettering, as long as you press down hard enough, it's still gonna, oh, I put the carbon on backwards though. That's not gonna work. You do have to have the carbon side down. And now it's not gonna fit on my design right. Maybe it will, hold on. Make sure all the letters are covered. Okay, I think we're okay. Except that tape has carbon on it now. I gotta take that off so I don't get that on my rock. All right, well, let's try that again. So we are going to line up our word on our rock. And then tape that down. There we go. Good morning. That San Diego, I can say good morning, San Diego. Your name isn't actually your name, I can tell. All right, so once you have it on here, we're just going to go around and we are going to trace these again. I'm going to trace all these lines and all of it because we're going to do the whole entire thing. A lot of times these really cool designs have all these fun circles and frames, and it just gives it so much more visual impact. You always do it backwards. Yeah, you're right. Seeing it before I did it all is very thankful for that. So again, I just try to go down the center of the lettering, even if it's a thicker letter. Now, if you really want to come in here and try to get the thicknesses on here, you could, but I find it easier to just do one line through the whole design. And then that way, when you come back through with your paint pen, you can add the weight of the lettering where it's needed. And I am writing really slow because since you can't see your rock, if you hit a little bump, it can make your pen skip. Sorry, I was reading a comment there. I don't know if those dots will transfer or not. Let's see. Yep, they did. I'm not sure what you mean by thinking backwards. I always have to think backwards. I read that comment. I was trying to think like, well, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Because this transfers face forward. Now, since we are on a rock and a rock can be slanted, every once in a while, just make sure that it's kind of folding over the edge the way that you want, okay? Like, that's why we lined it up first to make sure the rock fit. You want it to kind of fit on the surface of your rock. If it's going over the edge, you can run into some problems there. So I'm just gonna peek again, see? All right, we're transferring, okay. And then we will go over this with our black. Now you wouldn't be able to do this, say, with the white paint pen. We're gonna do some designs maybe with the white paint pen after this one. It's funny because I really like both. I like the contrast that you get with the black on these, but then if you go back with your white, it gives it kind of a softer look, which can be really nice as well. And if you're not familiar with the carbon paper, you do not have to use a really hard pressure to get this to transfer. You just have to make sure you're using something with a hard tip, like a ballpoint pen works really well too. That's what I thought I had over here. I just grabbed this one because it was close. And even if you're doing really simple lettering, it can help just to do this just to get your spacing a little bit better. Okay. All right, I think I got all of it there. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, so you got that on there. And it's not super dark, but you don't need it to be super dark. This is just giving you kind of guidelines to follow. But do keep your piece of paper to the side so you can kind of go back and forth and see like your dream. So I do go over it first, just as with the plain black, okay? So, and then we're gonna thicken up each word. So first I'm gonna go ahead and write the word dream here, just following over our pieces of lines that are here. Okay. And my little swirl didn't transfer all the way, so I'm gonna look back at my paper here and see. So we had this bit along here. And there we go. All right, so that's dream. So now I'm gonna look back and see, and it looks like mostly the downward strokes, and that's usually a good rule of thumb when you're doing hand lettering. It's usually the downward strokes that are going to be the thicker strokes, but some designs might, you know, play around with that idea just a little bit because it depends on how you're writing your letters. So we're going to start by just kind of thickening up some of the places just where it matches the picture. Okay, and then we'll keep moving along our design. And then this swirl out here is a little bit thicker. And just, I don't know, I always tell people just a little bit at a time. You can always add more. You can't take things back off of these rocks very easily, just because we're working on a pour painted background now. On that first one, I was working on a solid colored background. So if I needed to go in and paint the teal over, I could to fix a problem. But I just had all these pores and I gotta decorate them. It's getting close to time to get out there and start putting them out in my tree. There we go. And then we have a dot, dot, dot. And swoop underneath here. My puppy is trying to go outside. I'm gonna have to go let him out before he starts barking. All right, I'm gonna finish this word. All right, give me one moment. Come on, bud. All right. Sorry about that. Nature calls, right? All right. So now we've got this little swoop up here. Okay, and those letters are a little bit more chunky, so we're going to come back, but I don't want them to end up touching. So I'm going to do the I first, and I'm going to make them match the I. Sometimes when you're working with paint pens, you're going to have to make some little adjustments, but nobody's going to see your rock next to your inspiration, so that's okay. Okay. I know a lot of times with these paint pens too, the tendency is to kind of like press down. You can get your finest line if you don't use a lot of pressure. Like if you very lightly touch, you're going to get a lot finer of a line than if you're pressing down all the way. Sometimes I have to remind myself that too. All right, so we're going to write crease. So one of the terms in typography, like they drop the center line, like so this lettering here, I like to draw this lettering. This is one of my favorites. It's like a low center line. So you just basically are dropping where that center line would be if you were learning how to write on the dotted paper. Okay. Very little in here. Okay, so like this word story, it's kind of curling on me, so I can't really see. Let me do this. So there we go. Is that still in view for you guys? Yeah. All right, so the story has some fun thicknesses to it as well. So we're gonna go thicken up our S to the back side and down the center here. And since your line is kind of closer to like down the middle, you can decide which way you want to add your thickness. You can add a little bit to one side, a little bit to the other, and that will help you with kind of lining things up with the other letters as well. Like I don't want to put my T to the left because I'm going to hit my S. So we're going to move the thickness to the right. Okay. O. Then at the top, it's a little thicker as it comes down, and really thick on the side here. There we go. All right. Can you hear my doggy doorbell, guys? The doggy doorbell. I'll go get him in a second. I'll finish this. Okay, so the R actually does connect. We must have just had a little lump in our rock there. Okay. And then go this way with that Y. And it's kind of chunky going down. Oh, ball at the tip there. There we go. Now the create's a little thicker on this rock. I'm gonna walk away to let that dog in really quick. Well, I'm gonna let him ring one more time. It's really nice out. I think he actually probably would rather be out there. But there we go. I think I'm gonna leave this one. I think I'm just gonna go down the create one more time just to give it a little bit of thickness, but I don't wanna get in there too much because I feel like those letters might start bleeding together a little bit. So I'm just gonna use kind of slightly at an angle with my paint pen. We'll give it just a little bit of a thicker line, but nothing major. There we go. There. And there we go. What do you guys think? Do we like that one? We got 3 here now that we're, there we go. Now you can also just look up things like this just to give yourself just a jumping off point. Sometimes you just need some inspiration. You don't know what to write. I mean, it can just be daunting sometimes just to try to think of things to put onto rocks, especially if you're looking at all of them. It can be overwhelming. But if you just kind of want to get ideas of what to say, you don't have to follow their lettering, you know, perfectly. So like something like this, rock star, like you don't have to actually follow that perfectly. We can just have it to the side to kind of give us a jumping off point. I'm going to do that one with my white here, and we're just going to look at it just to kind of, again, give us an idea. This is not the paint pen that I wanted. Where's my white? There you go. So we're just going to come on here and write rock star. We're going to just do rock. There's a little line on here, and I'm just going to use that as like a guide to split my rock in half. So we're just going to write rock star. Now, if you are doing this visually, so rock has 4 letters, star has 4 letters, so this is the center of your rock, right? So sometimes I like to start in the middle and work my way out. So I'm going to just write the C, K over here, and then an O and a big R over here, like that. And then I do like that this is like a solid. We're going to make that top one a little more hand letter looking. And then I'm going to write this one very cap locks like that. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my doggy doorbell went off again, so he did 2 times. I gotta go let him in. I'll be right back. Sorry, home alone today. All right. So now we got our basic, super simple looking lettering on here, right? So let's jazz it up a little bit. So we could take regular letters like this, and we're going to kind of get it a little more hand letter look, okay? So again, when we were talking before, downward strokes are the ones that usually do thicker. So we're going to go, like if you were writing the letter R, to the left here would be a downward stroke. So we're going to thicken that up just a little bit. Okay, this would be up, so we can keep that thin, and then this would be down, so we can thicken up this down. Okay, and then this would be down, so we can thicken up this down. And then up would be thin. All right, our O would be thicker to the left, that's the down. And if we want, we can connect that into our C with just a little swoop. You see that little swoop? It just makes it look more cursive. And then the back side of the C would go down. And then we can swoop that into our K. And then this would be down. Okay. There's like a little lump on my rock here that I'm going to be working on. Okay. So we're going to just kind of zhuzh that. Okay. So now see, it's just a little bit more cursive look to it. Just a little fun. Now, the way I did it, I'm not going to have space for all that, but you could add like a little swoop here and have it go off that made it look like a E a little bit there at the end. So maybe we didn't want to do that. Maybe that's why they had their swoop going sideways. We'll fix that in a little bit. All right, so star. Again, I'm just going to come around here and thicken up our letter a little bit. Just like that. All right, we can try to do some of these swoops. So we have a swoop that goes just down along it like that. And then the second one follows the same line and does like a spiral. And then the third one just kind of curls to the side, a couple little dots. Okay. So they don't have to match perfectly. It can just be like little jumping off points. And I don't like that because it looks like an E. So we're just going to fill that in. Maybe do something. And we got stars over here. We got a little thing here in the middle. We can replicate that. Okay. And a couple stars. Okay, so see that? So it doesn't have to follow it exactly to a T. See how we kind of looked at that? Kind of came up with that. I just saw that. Yeah, doggy doorbell. It really works well. We trained him when he was a puppy. I love it. Oh, that sounds like a wonderful. So, in case you're watching the replay, sometimes these comments are on the replays. Somebody said that their neighbor is having a weekend forgiveness camp, so they are making a bunch of kindness rocks for it. I love that. That's awesome. All right, so you can look at these ideas and kind of make them your own. You can also just look at them to get the words that you like. I mean, that's sometimes, like I said, that can be the hardest part sometimes. It's just like, what is it going to say? Like, I like this one that says, you are enough. Super simple. Again, this is kind of the basic cursive that you can start with. I'm going to just write you are, and then enough will be big. So I'm actually going to do the enough first. Again, we got 6 letters, so the OU's the middle. So I'm going to start with the OU on here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the GH. Okay, and then the NE. And it should help you get your word somewhat centered on the rock, okay? And then you. Okay, so the R is it's a little bit trickier to write it standard and then change it into cursive. You kind of can. Let me see. I'm going to try it. We're just going to put it on here normal and then try to make it cursive. I started doing my Y a little cursive, so pretend like you don't see that. All right, so to get the A to the R, you're going to take the tail and you're going to come up here. And then you're going to carry this back down. Doesn't really translate as well. That looks more just like standard cursive, but you can read it. I think that's okay. It's hard to get the look. I do have lettering pages on one of our posts on the site that just has like practice pages for doing the hand lettering. So if anybody wants those, let me know. I'll find that post and I can drop it to you here in the comments. But they, a lot of times just the extra dots and dashes are what really bring it together. The lettering itself doesn't even have to be that crazy and elaborate. Just adding a little bit of thickness to these lines here. Second coat at the same time. Okay. Dashes, dots, like we were showing. This little thing right here, I don't even know what that's called. Those are really fun to do. You can kind of do those sideways too. Filigree or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Just try to kind of fill the space a little bit. So you could just dot, dot, dot. I like doing dots, you guys know that. Dot, dot, dot. Especially with the paint pen, it makes it very, very easy to do. Okay. So simple. They do not have to be crazy, crazy, crazy. Hello, Denmark, Maria. Thanks for coming in. Okay, practice. Yeah, I can get you some of those. I'll make sure to get them for you. Let's see here. What else do we have? Another thing, you don't have to do lettering. This whole tutorial isn't meant to necessarily be 100% lettering. You can also just do doodles on rocks. I like to do flowers. I love to do mushrooms. Let's do a fun mushroom rock. I haven't done a mushroom rock in a while. And see the difference? I like the contrast of the black. It is bright and it's bold. But the white is just kind of soft. And so it's just, both are really unique and fun. I feel like the top of this rock needs something. Sometimes an edge helps of some sort. Maybe I'll do like I don't know, something's missing. I need something at the top there. I don't know. I don't know what it is yet. I'll come back to that. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day too, Maria. Okay, I'll make sure to get you guys that practice sheet. It's a post on the website. It actually was from the first time that we were doing contact paper rocks. A lot of them were holiday themed, but they were just, there was like actual letters, like alphabet letters on there too. All right, for mushrooms, I've done mushroom rocks before. You guys have probably seen a bunch of them, so I'm just going to do a fun little big one and a little one together. So we're just going to do the top. Get a tall mushroom here. Give the right side a little bit of thickness. Okay. I just like to kind of get my curve so I know about where I want my stem to be. And a little place to live. We'll swoop all this over. And there we go. I know we like to have them by themselves, so we're going to do a little mini down here as well. There we go. Like that. And you can do stripes on your mushrooms. I'm going to fill in this stem all the way too. Stripes on your mushrooms, polka dots on your mushrooms. They're kind of fun with this pour inside of them, just kind of being fun and funky like that. So maybe it's better to do, I got to give them some land. They can't just be floating in space. Well, they could be, but I choose not to have them. There we go. A couple little pieces of grass down there. So I kind of like this cool groovy color that's coming through. So I don't want to go with too much design. I kind of like them like that. We are going to add in just a few of the little texture lines in here. A few from the inside, a few from the outside. Just give it the underbelly look to it. Okay. I'm just going to leave that one just like that, Okay. I'm going to do a flower. Let's see. Actually, I want one a little wide or something more like this. I'm going to do a flower on this one. So I'm going to paint a couple more here live, and then I'll probably do some more while I record them. The only thing about doing the live is the replay. It depends on my connection to how crisp it is to turn it into the little 3-minute video for you guys. So I might film doing some of the carbon ones without. Let's just do a super simple flower here. So we're going to just do a circle in the center. I like to kind of decide how many petals I'm going to have before I make them, just so I have a little bit of an eyeball on how wide to make them. So I'm cutting in half each of these sections. So we're going to have 8 petals. So now that I can have my start and finish spot on them, I can put them on here. Come out. All the way around, and I'm not super picky that they have to be exactly the same shape. Just kind of like have a little bit of spacing. That's why I make the little lines first. Okay. Now I come down here, get a little stem. Stem action. I do like to do a little dash dot in my flowers. Looks kind of cute if you're keeping it simple. Sometimes just these simple white lining works good. And now, of course, somebody's at my front doorbell. Hey guys, this is the fun of life. What do we think of the flower, though? Super cute. I gotta go see what this is. Thank you for not barking crazy, Tucker. The joys of live, I tell you. Thanks for having practice pages. Okay. Okay, you're having a problem with Posca pens. They kind of bleed the color paint when I press out color, not even like her teeth. Okay, so I don't know how long you've had them or if you've traveled with them, but there can be pressure that builds up in your paint pen. So when you very first get them, there's a word that people use is burping them. When you very first get them and you open them up, you have to lift them and put them tip towards the ceiling, and you press your tip down like this, and it's kind of hard to show from an angle, but you just press down like that, and it will let out any air that is built up inside your pen. And that can happen when you travel. Like I took mine on an airplane once, and when I got back, we had like quite a few of them were doing that. Like if I pulsed it, are you getting a big blob of paint coming out when you pulse it on the paper? I think that's what you're referring to. If that is what you're referring to, then yes, absolutely, that happens. So if you travel or if they're brand new, you want to burp them to get that extra air out of them, and then you shouldn't have problems with it. I haven't had problems with them since. I always do it when I get a brand new one, but the traveling, I took them on an airplane with me once when I was traveling. When I got back, all of a sudden they were doing that again, and I thought, what is going on? And then it hit me. I think it's the pressure change from going up in elevation. All right, this one I'm going to do a really simple sun doodle, just because it's pure yellow. I'm going to do my best to just freehand a circle on here. There we go, and we're just going to do. It's funny. Sometimes these really simple ones, I put them in a tree for my neighbor kids. They come and find them, and they like these super simple style rocks. The ones that I spend hours on, you know, they don't care. They'll probably like these better than the ones that have words on them. But I like them all. I like to do the word rocks, and I tell the adults they're allowed to take them too. If they see one that speaks to them, then they can definitely have it as well. I'm going to make him a smiling sun just because. Cool. Dipping that up. I know that's so simple, you guys, but sometimes you just don't overthink it. And you can just really get away with anything on these rocks. I'm trying to think of, I'm trying not to do any like this entangle type pattern ones today, just because. Let's see here. What's another one down here that we could do really easily? I really do like this one. Should we do one more on carbon paper? Is there anybody here that wasn't here when we were doing the carbon paper? I got about 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to hop off. Let's do... let's see here. What's the best way? I always store my pens on their side. I store mine horizontally. That is the best way. That's what I've heard from most people, and that's how I've stored mine for years. Like this white, I can tell because it's the one that still has the Japanese print on it, is like the first white I ever had. And I've stored them on their sides. As long as the paint doesn't run out, you're good to go. They'll last you a long time. Poscas do cost a little bit more, but they really do stand the test of time. They last so much longer than I've had some other pens that didn't last as long. So I will always suggest these. So let's just do another really simple word rock. I'm going to go off a phrase on here that says, make today great. Okay, so we're just going to write it on regular, and then we're going to play around with the weighting and things like that to make it a little bit more fancy. So we're going to write today. Great is going to be the big word, I think. So we're going to do make I'll do capital letters on this one. Sometimes just doing that changes up your lettering. Like just doing all capital, it just makes it stand out a little bit. If I did lowercase for my next ones, I'm going to do like a cursive for the middle word. So I'm going to start with my T here. And I'm pretty sure most of these letters I can get away with writing them normal. And then we'll come back and make them fancy. So here's the O, D, A, Y. And then we're going to write great in all capital letters again. So G, R, E, A, T. All right, now to make that look more hand letter, so we're just gonna follow our letters and add on our little swoops and dips, okay? And then so our downward strokes are gonna be where we're gonna make it a little thicker too. So this is sideways, so we're gonna leave this. I'll just give it a second coat. The T going down is gonna get a little thicker. And then you can kind of curl it to get to your O. And then your O, the downward stroke is going to be a little thicker. And then you can add a little loop to get it to the D. And then that downward is going to be thicker. So let's see, D down, we go up and then back down again. So you can decide if you want to add a curl in that one. I'm not going to. So T, D, go up, back down, but we need to get a little tail on there to go to our A. And then the A. And then I'm just going to kind of swoop it there so we don't run into our thing. I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. There's a little zhuzhing that needs to be done on that guy. So sometimes with white, you're going to need a second coat. Today. Got a little thick in the inside of that A for my liking, but that's okay. I also believe we are our own worst critics all the time. Okay. Okay, we'll go back over these letters here. Alright, guys. Alright, so once you got that on there, you can add your little extra dashes and dots. We could do like boom, boom, boom in the middle here, although the E is the middle, so let's go to 5 like that, and we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the top, and add like a little 1, 2 over here. Okay, so just like little extras just to make it fun. All right, best way to seal. There's so many options to seal. I don't know that there's necessarily a best way. It really just depends on your preference, on what you like for the sealant. Like if you want that super glossy look, that's resin. Resin though, you have to be very careful with what you're doing with resin, okay? You have to wear a mask, you need ventilation and things like that. There are spray-on sealers, which I, preference-wise, when the weather is nice enough to use a spray-on sealer, I use the spray-on sealer the most because I can do so many rocks so fast. So I just put out a giant piece of cardboard and I just do a whole bunch of rocks at the same time, but that also obviously is weather conditions that deal with that. If you're going to do a brush on, there is DuraClear. That's the only brush on that I use, only because that's the only one I've ever had or needed. They have different finishes. There's a gloss finish and a matte finish, so you can kind of decide how you want it to look. For some reason, when I went back to my live last time, the live comments weren't necessarily there, so hopefully I can come back and reply to your comments on here. If not, I will, when I do the 3-minute video, I'll ask if people want the sheets too, and we'll do that good. So, all right, well, we are wrapping up the hour, you guys. I'm going to keep working on these later on this afternoon. I will share pictures of them all when they're finished, however many I decide to do today. And I will get this shortened down for all the folks that like the shorter videos. But thanks for hanging out with me today, everybody. Bye-bye.